Lola wanted to sleep, but the air felt too thick with thoughts. To make herself feel better, she tried one of the tricks she always used. She hugged her pillow tight against her chest, the way her grandmother used to hug her after nightmares. She whispered small, comforting things into the cotton, pretending they came from someone else. But the warmth faded quickly, and her whispers returned to her ears sounding lonely, not soothing. No matter how she curled into herself, nothing really worked tonight. She wanted rest, real rest, the kind where morning light doesn't sting, but she feared the silence between thoughts, watching shadows crawl over the posters on her wall. On one of them, a bright watercolor of a mountain meadow. The shadows twisted into strange shapes. The flowers she painted began to look like dark eyes. The clouds took on the shape of large animals looming overhead. A scene that was once beautiful now looked like a place she'd be afraid to walk alone. And then it happened. At first, it was just the sound of wood expanding, old houses breathe. But then the door eased open a few inches. A dim red light leaked in, as though someone had hung a lantern in another world, and in that light stood something. Its fur was thick and darker than old wine, each strand glowing faintly from within. Its eyes, 2 small moons carved out of ember. Its claws, long as crayons, caught the light and dripped it. Its teeth showed, but not bared, just there, like truth. Lola froze. Her blanket became her armor. She dove under the covers, pulling them tight around her little body, forming a tiny igloo of warmth. Her breathing thudded against the cotton. She told herself she was safe under there. Nothing could reach her in the small cave of fabric and breath. Nothing ever had. But her curiosity scratched louder than her fear. After a moment, she poked her head back out. Her eyes adjusted to the red glow. And she gave the beast a longer look. The bear didn't move at first. It simply was, filling the doorway with a floating patience. But then she saw it held something, balanced awkwardly in its paw. A small ceramic dish, steam rose, raspberry pie, her grandmother's recipe, the one that stained fingers pink. Lola blinked. The smell reached her before her courage did. Still, under the sheets, her heart thudded like a quiet drum. "Why?" she finally whispered, voice shaking in the air between them. The bear tilted its head, a movement too human to dismiss as wild. It didn't speak, but the pie wobbled slightly, as if an offering. She noticed then the pattern burned into the bear's fur, a swirl near its shoulder like a fingerprint, or the curl of smoke from her grandmother's wood stove. The room dissolved backward into summers. Lola was small again, following her grandmother through blueberry bushes, bare feet on moss, the air humming with bees. The forest back then felt like a giant breathing library, the wind flipping the pages of unseen books. Pine needles crackled softly underfoot, like whispered secrets. Sunlit dust floated between the branches, turning the paths into glowing ribbons. Sometimes her grandmother would kneel to examine the smallest things. A mushroom no taller than a thumb, A bird feather caught on a twig, the tracks of a fox pressed into soft mud. She spoke to the forest the way some people speak to pets, gentle, familiar, grateful. "Don't fear the forest," her grandmother had said, "only what you bring into it." Her grandmother trusted the woods completely, even when the wind howled and shadows stretched like claws across the ground. She'd smile and say, "That's just the forest stretching its legs." She walked alone at dusk without a flashlight, believing the trees remembered her footsteps and would guide her home. And Lola, tiny and unsure, would cling to her hand, trying to borrow that confidence like a coat 2 sizes too big. And every night that year, a bear had come to the edge of their clearing, sniffing the compost bin. Her grandmother never chased it away. She'd whisper, "Let her eat. She's hungry, just like us." Then came winter, a phone call, a funeral coat that didn't fit. The house felt smaller without the humming, and Lola began to dream of locked doors and distant forests. Since then, she hadn't spoken her grandmother's name aloud, as if silence could preserve her. Without her grandmother's steady presence, Lola began to fear things she never used to notice. The hallway at night felt too long, the space under the stairs too dark, the laundry room too quiet. At school, crowded places made her shrink into herself, and empty places made her feel watched. Even the walk from the bus stop made her heart beat faster. Rustling leaves sounded like footsteps, streetlights flickering felt like signals. Everything unfamiliar became a threat, every corner a place something could hide. Yet in rare moments, when wind brushed against her cheek just right, she'd remember her grandmother's warm hand guiding her through tall grass, and the fear would loosen just a little. The red bear stepped closer now, slow enough that the floorboards sighed between each step. Lola's eyes watered. From fear or recognition, she couldn't tell. The bear knelt, massive, warm light rippling through its fur. It set the pie on the floor and looked at her, waiting. "Grandma?" she breathed. The bear's mouth moved, not in words, but in shape, and somehow, from inside Lola's chest, a voice answered, familiar, soft, like water on stone. "I'm here only because you keep the door open. You keep me alive each time you remember something kind. You're angry at the world for moving on. You don't need to be. The forest still hums even when you can't hear it." Tears slipped down Lola's temples. The bear leaned close, breath warm, smelling of sugar and pine needles. It pressed its forehead to hers, and for a moment, Lola heard the hum again, low, continuous, wrapping the world in peace. The red glow softened, fading toward dawn orange. The fur looked brown now, almost ordinary. The claws looked like polished wood, the eyes dimmed to gentle candlelight. Lola wasn't scared anymore. She took a piece of the pie, broke it in half, and set the rest beside the bear. They ate together in silence. When she blinked, The doorway was empty. Only the smell of raspberries remained, sweet and distant. She whispered, "Thank you," into the dark, as though into the forest itself. She turned off the lamp completely. The quiet was different now, not empty, but full. Lola's breathing slowed. Her pulse matched the rhythm of something older, and she fell into the kind of sleep that doesn't need dreams. Good night, my midnight friend.